Disney parks are filled with unforgettable sights, sounds, and experiences, but there's something truly magical about the icons that greet you as you step inside. From the wonder of the Tree of Life to the enchanting spires of Sleeping Beauty's castle, these landmarks aren't just symbols of imagination, they're the heart and soul of the Disney theme park experience. But have you ever wondered what really designates a thing or structure as the official icon of a park? Today we're going to take a look at what truly makes an icon within a Disney theme park, along with how sometimes our nostalgia for the past can color our perspective of how we really feel about them.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
It begins back 70 years ago in 1955 with the opening of Walt's original park, Disneyland. When designing his first park, Walt Disney insisted that a castle be placed in a centralized location in order to act as a symbol of the fairy tale theme of Disneyland. Artist Herb Ryman was given only 2 days to create the concept art in order to pitch the project to gain financial supporters. He would draw a large castle at the back of the park inspired by the design of the Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany. Walt would instruct his Imagineers to make it tall enough to be seen from all around the park. On July 17, 1955, Disneyland would officially open with a group of excited children entering Fantasyland through the castle's drawbridge. Even though the animated film would not be released until 1959, the castle would be named Sleeping Beauty Castle as part of Disney's ever-present marketing synergy. Sleeping Beauty Castle is the smallest of the icons at only 77 feet tall, but it is designed using forced perspective. This is where design elements are larger at the bottom and smaller at the top to give the illusion of much more height. In 1957, the Sleeping Beauty walkthrough attraction would be added to the inside of the castle. The attraction would go through multiple rehauls over the years, along with a period of being closed from 2001 until 2008. The walkthrough attraction is still open at Disneyland today. When Disney set his sights on his Florida project, he was looking to scale everything much larger than what he was able to do in California. This time, based around the 1950 animated film Cinderella, the new castle would be over 100 feet taller than Sleeping Beauty Castle, coming in at 189 feet tall, just under the height required to place an obstruction light for air traffic. It took 18 months of construction to build the castle with a steel frame and plaster. Due to the frequent number of hurricanes in Florida, the castle was designed to withstand up to 125-mile-per-hour winds. Originally, Walt Disney was going to have a small apartment within the castle, very similar to the apartment in the firehouse on Main Street, USA at Disneyland. However, Walt passed away in 1966, 5 years before the opening of Magic Kingdom. The inside of the castle would be used as space for cast members until 2007, when the Cinderella Suite would open as part of Disney's Year of a Million Dreams celebration. The castle would also host a restaurant, Cinderella's Royal Table, where guests could meet different princesses, including Cinderella, while having a meal. Cinderella Castle is said to be one of the most photographed landmarks around the entire world. Which brings us to one of the first icons that may be looked back on with more nostalgia than being a good idea at the time. In 1996, Walt Disney World was celebrating its 25th anniversary, and Disney thought it would be a great opportunity to do something big in part of that celebration. They would turn Cinderella Castle into a giant birthday cake with bright pink and blue icing, giant gumdrops, sprinkles, and lollipops, along with 26 candles, one for each year and an extra for good luck. Guests traveling to the Magic Kingdom throughout that 25th year would forever have the memory of this giant cake castle immortalized in their family photos. Weddings planned for this time would have to deal with the pink monstrosity taking up their shots. In short, most people were not very happy to have the presentation of the castle during this time, and once it was removed after the 25th anniversary, many people were happy to see it go. However, if you were a kid going to the park for the very first time almost 30 years ago, would you have fond memories of this version of the castle? Does the presentation of something for the very first time change how you look back on it in the future? I'm sure there are people out there who do look back with nostalgia at the Cake Castle, but it's still a heavily debated topic between longtime Disney park fans. The castle would receive different decorations decorations and paint jobs over the years between the different Disney celebrations. Tokyo Disneyland would get a near identical castle to their version of the Magic Kingdom in 1983. From 1986 until 2006, the castle even had a walkthrough attraction called the Cinderella Castle Mystery Tour, based around Disney villains, including the Horned King from the Black Cauldron, one of the darkest and more interesting extinct Disney attractions. In 1992, Disneyland Paris, originally Euro Disney, would officially open. At this new park, a stunning new version of Sleeping Beauty Castle would be presented, featuring stunning pink towers, elegant stained glass windows, and even an amazing dragon animatronic lurking beneath the castle. A masterpiece of Disney Imagineering. It blends the classic charm of European artistry, making it one of the most enchanting castles at any Disney theme park. Hong Kong and Shanghai Disneyland would get their own castles as well. Hong Kong initially had an exact replica of Sleeping Beauty Castle from Disneyland in Anaheim, but in 2020 the castle would be reimagined to the Castle of Magical Dreams. The Shanghai Disneyland Castle is the largest and most elaborate Disney castle ever built at 197 feet tall. The Enchanted Storybook Castle represents all of the Disney princesses, with stunning architecture, interactive experiences, and a breathtaking golden spire. It features a walkthrough attraction, a boat ride, and even a restaurant, making it a true fairy tale centerpiece. The Disney Castle would end up becoming an icon of not just the theme parks, but for the company as a whole. It is represented at the beginning of all of the company's films and presented in almost all of their promotional materials.
The 21st century begins October 1, 1982. EPCOT Center, Walt Disney World.
Over at EPCOT, the entrance to the park and its icon has gone through many changes over the years. Opening on October 1st, 1982, Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, or EPCOT, was originally one of Walt Disney's dreams for a future community. Placed right at the entrance of the park and seen from throughout as well is Spaceship Earth. Designed by Disney legend John Hench, the 180-foot tall geodesic sphere is similar to the sphere found at the United States Pavilion from Expo 67 in Montreal. However, Spaceship Earth is a complete sphere covered in over 11,000 triangular panels, giving it that golf ball look. It weighs over 15 million pounds and is supported by steel pylons 120 feet into the earth. Spaceship Earth and its surrounding area remained virtually untouched until Disney was ramping up for the Millennium Celebration in 1999. Disney would place a 257-foot tall tower on the side of Spaceship Earth, with Mickey's arm holding a giant magic wand with the year of 2000 glowing. After the Millennium Celebration was completed, the year 2000 was replaced by the words EPCOT. While Mickey's hand was hovering above the sphere, below there was a major change happening with the Leave a Legacy. John Hench would be brought in again to design these granite monoliths to fit into the landscape in front of Spaceship Earth. As part of the Millennium Celebration, guests could purchase a photo of either themselves or their family etched into stainless steel to be placed on these brand new monoliths. The Leave a Legacy promotion would last from 1999 until 2007, with Disney selling 550,000 of the 700,000 they had available. The promise from Disney was to keep these portraits available for 20 years from when the last photo was sold. Between the 20-year promise and the fact that each monolith weighed over 50,000 pounds, it seemed it would be here to stay for the foreseeable future. After the promotion officially ended in 2007, most guests who never knew of the original promotion would enter Epcot confused on why these giant pieces of granite had people's faces etched onto them.
Wow. Kind of freaky.
The giant Mickey hand would be removed in 2007, but those monoliths would continue to remain. They wouldn't be removed until 2019, when Disney would embark on a complete refresh of Epcot. The Leave a Legacy tiles still exist today, but they would be moved to the outside of the park entrance on the left and right sides. While my family and I never purchased a tile during our early trips, my wife's family actually did. My wife and her younger brother were placed on one of these tiles. This gave me a much different perspective live on those Leave a Legacy monoliths. While for people who never knew about it or just didn't care about it at the time, it may seem to have a strange design choice in front of this architectural marvel. However, for those who have tiles, it's a much more personal connection to the park, and especially to the time when that photo was taken. It can show a piece of childhood or even a loved one who has since passed on. Where the tiles are now, they seem really temporary, and what future they have is yet to be seen. Based on the original contract, Disney only needs to keep these tiles around until 2027, so we'll see where their legacy really lies within a few years.
First came the Magic Kingdom, then the incredible EPCOT Center. Now comes the new Disney-MGM Studios theme park. The Disney-MGM Studios theme park at Walt Disney World in Florida.
On May 1st, 1989, Disney-MGM Studios would officially open as the third park at Walt Disney World. The park was themed to an idealized version of Hollywood and even acted as a real production studio for a short time. When Disney-MGM Studios first opened, the flagship attraction was the Great Movie Ride. Placed right at the end of this park's Main Street USA, Hollywood Boulevard, it would be placed within a replica of the Grauman's Chinese Theater. It was a visual centerpiece of the park, in a similar location to where a castle may be placed. However, the Chinese Theater was never considered to be the icon of the studio's park. The icon placed in the promotional materials and merchandise was the Eiffel Tower, a 130-foot tall water tower placed on the studio backlot area of the park. The Eiffel Tower would remain until it was removed in 2016 to make way for Toy Story Land. But there was a time that even the Eiffel Tower was no longer considered to be the icon of the park. In 2001, Disney was promoting their 100 Years of Magic celebration to celebrate the 100th birthday of Walt Disney. They would have activities, new shows, parades, and much more.
Remember being a child and everything just seemed so huge and towering over you? You're going to get that same feeling at the Disney Studios because the first thing you're going to see is Mickey's Sorcerer Hat from Fantasia, except it's going to be 12 stories high.
However, the most remembered part of this celebration was the 122-foot tall Sorcerer Mickey hat placed right in front of the Great Movie Ride at Disney-MGM Studios. Originally, the hat was going to be built on the outside of the park. It would have been twice the height and included 2 Ferris wheels acting as Mickey's ears. But due to budget constraints, the plans were scaled back. During the original celebration, interactive kiosks were set up underneath the hat where guests could learn more about Walt Disney's life. While there were a fair share of upset Disney fans who wanted to see the hat gone, they hoped that it would only last through the remainder of the 100 Years of Magic celebration. 2002 came, and Disney extended the celebration into 2003. Then 2003 came, and walls went up around the hat. The kiosks were removed, and Disney fans anxiously anticipated the news coming from the parks. But the hat had other plans. It would reopen, now with a pin store located where the kiosks were once placed. The years would pass and the hat would remain, becoming the main focal point of the park. It would continue to be the icon represented for MGM Studios and eventually during its name change to Hollywood Studios. The Sorcerer's Hat would be a major part of Disney's promotion of the park throughout different materials, pins, and even toys. The hat would remain until October of 2014 when Disney would officially announce that the hat would be permanently removed in early 2015. By February 25th, 2015, all traces of the hat would be permanently removed. The Sorcerer's Hat is my personal nostalgic icon of the past. The first time I ever went to a Disney theme park was in November of 2001, right at the height of the 100 Years of Magic celebration. The hat remained through the majority of my childhood trips up until I was an adult going without my family. My wife even experienced the hat as a major part of her childhood experience at Walt Disney World. When we went back in 2016, she was even upset that it was no longer there at at the end of Hollywood Boulevard. I've read many articles and seen many other videos by fellow YouTubers on the topic and have to agree that the Sorcerer's Hat is probably the most controversial icon, mainly because I feel it is many more people who have fond memories about the hat compared to those who never liked it from the beginning. In a complete twist of irony, Disney placed a giant stage in front of the Chinese theater after removing the hat in order to use it for Star Wars shows. While I do enjoy the view whenever I'm walking down Hollywood Boulevard today, I still miss the hat every time I'm looking at the Chinese theater. Today, the icon of the park has become the Tower of Terror, possibly just because it is the tallest structure in the park at 199 feet tall. While it is one of the most recognizable and beloved attractions in all Disney parks, I wouldn't automatically say that the Tower of Terror is the best representation of Hollywood Studios as a park, but it is what they use on their promotions and merchandise. For now, Hollywood Studios will continue to have an identity crisis when it comes to an icon.
First came the Magic Kingdom, then EPCOT, then Disney-MGM Studios, and now... Introducing the most adventurous Walt Disney World theme park ever. Disney's Animal Kingdom, the imagination of Disney, gone wild.
In 1998, Disney's Animal Kingdom would open as the fourth park at Walt Disney World. Serving as the park's iconic centerpiece would be the Tree of Life, a breathtaking 145-foot tall artificial baobab tree adorned in over 337 intricately carved animal figures. It is covered in over 8,000 branches with 102,000 artificial leaves. The canopy itself extends over 165 feet wide. An oil rig was used as the skeleton of the tree and then covered in concrete. Within the tree is a 428-seat theater that holds It's Tough to Be a Bug. The show will be replaced later in 2025 by Zootopia Better Zoogether. The tree symbolizes the beauty and interconnectedness of nature, with its tangled and gnarled root system spreading over many acres, forming animal habitats, bridges, tunnels, and walking trails for visitors. The Tree of Life stands as one of Disney's most visually and emotionally stunning icons at all of their theme parks, bringing together the amazing work of Imagineering with the world of nature.
Sir, he's in.
Buzz Lightyear confirming. There is indeed a neighboring park.
Easy, Buzz.
Heads up. I see their leader.
Greetings, 100-foot grizzly bear. I come in. A giant apparatus is lifting entire families, and alien life forms are everywhere.
Hey, you want to go for a spin?
That's it! Somebody has to go in there! Any volunteers? I volunteer!
You've got to head on over to Disney's California Adventure.
On February 8th, 2001, back over on the West Coast, Disney would open their second park in Anaheim with Disney's California Adventure. The plan was to create a park themed more towards teenagers and adults, unlike Disneyland across the way. The entrance to the park was designed to look like a postcard with giant letters spelling out California. As guests entered the park, they would go under a scaled representation of the Golden Gate Bridge, and right in front of them would be the sun icon. MiceAge.com founder Al Lutz would say after previewing the new park in 2001, the icon for the park, their castle I guess, is a giant metal sun that looks like either a rather glitzy hubcap, or as one older couple I overheard say, like a jumbo-sized old radio microphone. It would continue to be referred to as a hubcap until it was removed in 2010 as part of Disney's $1.1 billion makeover of the park, being replaced with the 89-foot tall Carthay Circle restaurant in 2012. While the sun icon had the word icon in its name, it never was officially the icon of the park. That would be represented by Grizzly Peak. Standing at 110 feet tall, the mountain shaped like the California bear would be seen all across the park. However, after changing the identity of the park many times over the years, Disney has changed the icon of the park recently to the Pixar Palaround. When it originally opened, it was the sun wheel, but has since been changed to include the face of Mickey Mouse on the front. At 160 feet tall, it is one of the tallest structures in the park and placed in one of the most picturesque spots on Paradise Bay where the World of Color water show is held. It has become more of a default icon similar to the Tower of Terror over at Hollywood Studios. Even though California Adventure faced low attendance and negative reviews in those early years, I'm sure there are a few people out there who do have fond memories of the original version of the park. Personally, I got to know the park a lot prior to the $1 billion reimagining, and while I do think the updates were much needed, there are some people who may have grown up with the original version. However, does that mean that it should have stayed that way? In the case of California Adventure, I say the answer is clearly no. Just because you enjoyed it as a kid, does it really mean that it was always good? Nostalgia has an incredible power to transport us back to the moments that shaped us who we are, connecting us to emotions, experiences, and even people from our past. Whether it was a favorite childhood memory, a long-lost collectible, or even a beloved theme park attraction. In a world that's constantly changing, nostalgia provides us with a sense of continuity, proving that the past is never truly gone. These icons of the past and present automatically bring the happy times with family and friends rushing back. They have the power to represent a special time in somebody's life, to be the icon of not just a theme park, but your own memories. What is your favorite park icon, past or present? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for taking some time to join us on this deep dive into the nostalgic power of the Disney park icon. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like it and subscribe to our channel for much more. These types of videos take a long time with all of the research, editing, and everything that goes into these to bring you the best possible deep dives that we can offer. And I love going into these types of deep dives into the history of theme parks, Disney, and everything in between. If you enjoy this type of content, let us know below and we'll continue to bring you some awesome deep dives into the history of the theme park community. And thank you so much, as always, for watching.